Joe, what's your first crack?
Well, my first crack starts at the end of 1996. Stay with me. But at the end of 1996, the start of 97, Malcolm Blight got appointed the coach of the Adelaide Crows, and the first thing he did was make some really hard calls. He decided to let go some club legends, Tony McGuinness, Craig McDermott, Andrew Jarman, Scott Hodges, players like that, and he invested and put his faith in a young core that were coming through that included names like Kane Johnson, Rashudo McLeod, Edwards, and ironically Simon Goodwin. And I just wonder almost 30 years later whether Stephen King and the Melbourne Footy Club can repeat history. The question about Melbourne this year is why not? Why can't Melbourne challenge for a premiership from what we've seen this year? Because they've played 6 games against the top 9 teams this year. They're 4-2. Their 2 losses have been on the road to Fremantle and the Sydney Swans, and most are going to lose those games. And we know they had the horror show against Essendon at Gather Round. But it's no longer just a sugar hit, Jay, or the shiny new car that Stephen King's got. There is more substance under the hood. This is a team that have proven now that they belong in this competition. They've won 4 of their last 5 games, and their only loss, and I sat here a few weeks ago when they lost to Sydney, I thought they gained as much credibility and showed as much character in what they stood for in defeat as they have in all their wins. And when you look at their improvement over the last 4 weeks, it's since round 7, so it's 4 weeks now, they are slowly improving. So their profile still has a fair bit of work. But what I'm liking is there is still growth in this group. So since round 7, these are where they sit with their numbers. And when you think about it, you go, well, they are ticking a lot of characteristics that you need when you've got a premiership group. They've got elite top-end talent. They've got some of the best players in the competition. They have toughness. When you think about Sparrow and Jack Steele and what they bring, they've got elite run. They've been able to play the modern style of game that we are talking about that he's holding up in 2026. They have an even spread of goal kickers. So they don't have a player in the top 15 for goal kicking, but they've got 7 players that have kicked 12 goals or more. They have a really great spread. They have a perfect blend of experience and youth with their team, and they've got depth. So this team on the weekend that beat Hawthorn was still missing some experience that could easily play in Salem, Viney, Melksham, Tom McDonald if needed, and Mychek and Windsor walk back into this side. So I just think it's a really good start. And you look at a lot of the numbers in the last 4 weeks, and they've played a couple of really good teams in there, are heading in the right direction. And if they can continue with this trajectory, there's no reason why they can't challenge for not just top 6, but potentially get into the top 4. Because if you take a look at their schedule over the next 8 weeks, and this is the advantage of missing finals the year before, they have a favourable run. So they should start favourites in 6 of their next 8 games. That can get them to 13 wins by round 19. 16 wins will get them in the top 4, depending on percentage, but they are in that situation. So I think they should dare to dream. Dare to believe that, the way they are going about it, they can continue to ride this wave all season long. And this is what Stephen King had to say after the win against Hawks on the weekend.
In terms of daring to dream, I dare to dream that our players believe they can win every game they play in, and today was no different. So internally, our perception is now, we want to win every game of footy we play in. So I don't think looking at our squad or our list at the moment in terms of how many games we've played or how young we are should impact the way the game goes. I think we've got a nice blend, but that 7-3 gives us a good start to now just keep pushing ahead, really. It's a cliche, but we've got the Dogs again in a week's time and get back to Marvel and play another really high quality team. So we'll just try and take care of that one.
So it's interesting. I think they believe, they think this is more genuine than just a bit of a sugar hit to start. And not saying they're going to win the premiership right here, right now, but why can't they? Why not? They are doing a lot right, and it was a really impressive performance on the weekend. I know the Hawks were undermanned, but I've spoken about Melbourne, saying what I've loved about their offensive, they've found different ways to score. So early in the year, we saw their ball movement from the defence. I showed some clips a while ago. They can score long down the line. We know they can score from stoppage. And on the weekend, they found another way to challenge the opposition. So they knew coming into this game that Hawthorn were vulnerable in their defensive 50 with ground ball. If they don't mark the ball, the Hawks, you can get them at ground level. Collingwood showed us that a few weeks ago. They had a deliberate plan to not let Hawthorn mark the ball in the back 50. Obviously, it helped they had no Tom Barrass. But that's where Hawthorn were vulnerable, and Melbourne took advantage of it. They won ground ball in their own forward 50, which very rarely happens to be able to win that stat. And this is what it looked like. They were just able, time after time, to win that contest at ground level, not necessarily in the air, and put the score on the board. So these are opportunities all night long. Again, just a hand from Jefferson, get it down, and they continue to swarm. It hasn't been a strength of Melbourne's, to be honest, this year, the ground ball, probably because they play so quick. but they aren't necessarily able to get a lot of bodies inside their forward 50 to win that footy. But some of it was just hunt, some of it was will and effort, a bit of structure, and again, probably something that the Hawks needed to consider, because I think teams are now going to school on this, that their intercept marking game is their asset, and if they don't, with the way that they pick their back line, that they have shown that they are vulnerable. So I thought it was really impressive coaching. I thought great execution by Melbourne, and they were terrific in this part of the game, and it proved to be a big reason why they had the win.
It's a great call. I think they have assets that some struggle to cope with, don't they?
Yeah.
Like Max Gawn's a significant problem for everyone, and I don't know how you defeat or deny that.
Speed.
Their speed's an issue, and they're in this sweet honeymoon period with the coach. Everything he says they're buying into because the results are amazing.
And they're not predictable. There's not one key forward that you need to stop to take them out of it. They've got a spread. To a man, every player on that team has basically improved from previous years, which has been significant.
Not only Stephen King, let's not forget that Matthew Scarlett's there as well. So he's been in the coaching wilderness for some time, comes back to the club one day a week, and some of these young tools, Daniel Turner included, Joey, are developing nicely.
Well, he's only played 45 games. He's only been a year and a half down back. So he is very young. But some of the things that he's doing, Joe, this is craft. This is great to watch. If you're a Melbourne fan, I mean, they've been spoilt for key defenders over the last few years. This guy does it differently. He's a little bit more athletic than probably what we've seen with Stephen May, and even Jake Lever, who's been really a seriously good intercept defender. This guy just has a happy knack of doing it. He won 11 intercepts in the defensive 50. That's almost unparalleled over the last 4 years. I think Aliir is the only one that's won more over the last 4 years. So he's now competent in one-on-ones. He wasn't last year, so he's worked on that. Clearly he's had some assistance, but he's becoming a top-line defender in our competition.
Yeah, and I think Simon Goodwin does deserve a bit of credit for where this team have got to this year, because he was the one that had made moves. He put Dan Turner into defence late last year. He put Harvey Langford out to a wing. He played the kids and gave them opportunity in some important roles, and they did start to transition their ball movement. So I think he laid a pretty strong platform despite how it ended at Melbourne, and Stephen King's just taken it to a whole other level.
Flip side of the coin, what do we make of the Hawks?
The coach was spot on. They got outworked, and it doesn't matter how much vision you want to look at. We've got a little bit here to show you. You could have picked 20 passages of play, and just look at where they're starting. They're really well set, well organised. Laurie, who's just finding his way at AFL level, he just strolls through the middle of the ground, basically unopposed. And no one's really there, and you get a simple outnumber forward of the ball. So that feeds back into your ground ball stuff inside the forward 50, but it's just work rate. And there's a little bit of the lack of Barras not being there, but he doesn't really affect your work rate. So I'm watching these bits of vision. I'm saying, okay, look at the numbers. So who's going to get across first? Who's pushing across? It's all Melbourne. Melbourne are getting there first again. So now this goes back into the muck. All right, Hawthorn are there. All of a sudden, bang, tackle, bang, handball to the outside, and here we go again. And all the sheepdoggers get to the other side, just wanting to herd the pack, not to do the hard work. They're back. Pickett just puts 50 metres on more in a heartbeat. And I love what this guy's doing. I'm a massive fan of Latrell and what he's been able to do, not the highlight stuff, the hard work stuff. And this here, I mean, this is really basic, simple play, and Moore had a very good game, an excellent game. But defensively, there's vulnerabilities there, and they paid a heavy price when they got things wrong. I've got no doubt that Sam Mitchell will have them running this week. Yeah. He'll have them out in the track. They'll be doing laps of Dingley until they
mouth guards in.
Oh, not even mouth guards. Just a real attitude sharpener. There'll be a session or two that's uncomfortable for these guys.
Been winless over the last 3 weeks.